Hi guys, Bill here from Battle Geek Plus, and this is a new series called Dice of Fury, where we talk about tabletop gaming, board games, and all other fun stuff that a lot of people nowadays forget even exists because they have video games. Well, I can see the popularity and understand why people would play new styles of games. I'm, I guess, a traditionalist, and there's actually quite a few people out there who still play these old-fashioned games, like Dungeons and Dragons, a variety of games from White Wolf Games, even card games like Magic the Gathering, and that sort of thing. And there's a lot of us. There's a lot of us out there. But for those of you who aren't really well versed in how role-playing games, for instance, are played, it can be a little confusing, and it can be kind of a little intimidating to try to get involved in that sort of gaming community. So if you're going into it not knowing anything at all about it, it can be a little difficult, a little confusing, and a little hard to do. So what this series of videos of Dice of Fury is meant to do is to present to you tabletop gaming as sort of an introduction. And we'll show you, hopefully, that if you want to get involved with it, it's actually really easy to do, and it's really fun. And it has so much flexibility to it. There's so many things that you can do in a role-playing game, for instance, that you are extremely limited in and you can't do in video games and computer games, because you simply just cannot cover everything in a video game or a computer game. Because it's limited by what the programmer puts into the code. But when it comes to tabletop games, you're only actually limited to your personal imagination, what you can come up with in your head, the actual limitations of the game system that you're using, which they're usually pretty good, and the imagination and creativity of the person, the storyteller, who's actually running the game that you're playing in. So we're going to start talking about, and we're not going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons and, the thousands of crap that tons of stuff and rules and errata and all that junk that you need to learn to play D&D. We're going to stick with something that's very close and dear to my heart, because I made it. It's the greatest game ever made, ever. I guess I'm a little biased for that. Gaia Saga. It's a universal role-playing system that I developed a couple of years back, just for fun, really, to see what I could do when it comes to the gaming market. And, it's pretty great. So what we're going to do is to introduce you to role-playing games. We're going to be using Gaia Saga, okay? And I'm going to teach you the basics of how to play Gaia Saga, which will then give you an idea of how to play tabletop role-playing games in general. And then, if you want to play this, you can play this if you want. I'll have links and stuff. The farther we go into it and we talk about it more, if you want to get yourself a copy of the game and try it out yourself, or you could use the skills that I teach you in these videos, where you could play other things like Dungeons and Dragons, Call of Cthulhu. It's a horror role-playing game. Any sort of D20 system, Rifts, GURPS. The list goes on and on and on. So it should help you get involved a little bit more, at least have a general understanding of what a role-playing game is, how to go about playing them, and what needs to be done with it. So let's go ahead and let's get started, and we'll take a look at the Gaia Saga 2nd Edition rulebook.